Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. She set my coffee on the counter and moved my mug half an inch away from me like I carried a signal she didn't want to pick up. Liv, I told her, you've been quiet for a week. What's going on? Nothing. You're reading into things, she answered, eyes on her phone. It's not nothing. You missed dinner with my brother, ignored my text about the contractor, and you sleep like we're roommates. She clicked the fridge shut. You're being dramatic. If I'm wrong, prove it. Sit with me tonight. No screens. Talk. I have yoga, she said, already heading to the door. You're fine. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have recorded every cup moved an inch away. I watched the door close and made a small, boring decision. I wasn't going to chase. I'd invite once. After, I'd adjust the rules. That night, when she came back, I had plates on the table, salmon in the oven, a calendar open on my laptop. Dinner. I waved her in. And schedule. Schedule. She set her bag down like it weighed more than our marriage. Date nights, chores, family plans. We picked 2 nights a week just for us. No phones, no friends as a buffer. Simple. She poured water, took a sip, didn't sit. I'm slammed lately. You know that. We're all busy. Busy isn't a pass to opt out of being married. You're turning this into a job. It's already a job. It's supposed to be a good one. She half smiled. So what's the punishment if I don't clock in? Not punishment, I replied. Consequence. If you won't show up, I stop overextending. Separate budgets for a bit. Separate weekends. Less of me where I'm not wanted. Her eyebrow jumped. You're really going to threaten me with boundaries? I'm not threatening. I'm telling you the plan. She finally Saturday. You're making salmon again. You used to like it. People change, Mark. People also communicate. She cut me off with a look. You're very intense lately. I'm very tired of guessing what I did wrong when I probably didn't do anything wrong. Can we not do this? I'm meeting Kelsey in 20. Then say no and eat your dinner. That's controlling. It's an invitation. The control is you deciding everything for both of us. She stood. I'll grab something on the way. Take the blue card, I said, sliding it toward her. It's yours now for your stuff. I'll handle the mortgage and utilities. No more me covering random extras. Fair. Her eyes lingered on the card. Is this supposed to make me feel guilty? It's supposed to make it clear I'm not funding distance. She tucked the card into her wallet. You're making a scene over nothing. Then it won't bother you to put our time in the calendar. I'll text you. No, you won't, I told her, closing the laptop. So I'll plan mine. Golf on Saturdays. Workshop on Thursday nights. If you want to be in my week, get on it by Wednesday. Wow, she said dry. Your calendar must be thrilled. And in 3 weeks, I added, I'm canceling the cabin. We can't pretend we're good for 3 days in the woods when we can't survive an hour. Don't cancel the cabin. Put date night on the calendar, and I won't. She checked her phone, already gone. I have to go. I figured. When the door shut, I set 2 plates, ate alone, washed up. On the counter, her phone buzzed. I didn't touch it. I read the preview because it lit up in my face. Kelsey. Girl, you're going to own the room. Own what room? I rinsed the pan, put it away, and opened my own room, the guest room. I pulled a set of sheets from the closet and made the bed. Not a threat. A plan. If she wanted distance, she'd get it measured. The next few days sharpened the edges. She started coming home later, drifting past me like I was furniture. Wednesday, I intercepted her at the door with my shoes on. I'm heading to the gym. You in? I already went. This morning? You hate mornings. She shrugged. Trying something new. Great. Try dinner with me tomorrow. 7. I booked roses. She wrinkled her nose. Too heavy. Friday then. I'll grill. Simple. I told my team I could do a late call. You told them you could because you assume I have infinite patience. You're always fine, Mark. I'm not always fine. You're sturdy. That one landed like a compliment and an exit sign. I'm sturdy, not invisible. I need a shower. She moved past me. I let the door swing on its spring, then texted my friend Dan. Barbecue Saturday at your place still on? He coaches JV football and hosts like a mayor. He replied with a thumbs up and bring Olivia. I put it on my calendar and sent her a clean invite. Saturday, 3 p.m., dance. She didn't accept. Saturday, I drove us anyway. She sat angled toward the window. The JV team was running a drill on Dan's lawn because he can't not coach. Mrs. Ortiz from next door handed out lemonade like a sergeant. Dan clapped me on the shoulder. Look at this power couple. Olivia's smile was polite, thin. I'm here for the potato salad. You'll get a burger named after you, he joked, already flipping patties. We moved through small talk. Every time I turned to include her, she drifted toward the edge of the group. When I told a quick story about a client who tried to pay me in fishing gear, she cut across my sentence. He means he likes to talk money, she tossed at Kelsey, who had materialized with a tote and a camera-ready grin. Kelsey laughed too loud. Oh, he's the finance guy? Very structured. Structured keeps roofs paid, I answered neutral. Olivia sipped lemonade. Structured keeps things boring. Dan lifted his spatula. Boring keeps mortgages approved. Kelsey leaned in, voice pitched friendly and sharp. Liv's birthday's next month. Big one. You better not make it boring. I won't, I said. I'll make it respectful. Respectful is subjective, Olivia murmured, then turned her back on me to look at the line of kids running cones. It wasn't just cold, it was demonstration. I didn't raise my voice. I set my plate down and walked to Dan. Man, he lowered his tone. You good? Yeah. You sure? I'm leaving early, I told him. You don't have to. I do. New rule. I don't stand places where I'm a punchline. I went to Olivia. I'm heading out. So soon? Kelsey asked, smile tight. Call it a schedule boundary, I replied. Olivia blinked. We just got here. You just got here? I corrected. I've been here since we pulled in. She glanced at Kelsey like there was a scoreboard. I want to stay. Take the car, I said, handing her the keys. I'll Uber. Return it by 9. You're serious? Very. Kelsey tried to cushion it. We'll drop her. No need. I told her. Olivia's capable. I left to the sidewalk. Dan caught up. You sure this is the play? It's not a play, I said. It's a line. If she wants entertainment, she can hire a clown. I'm not it. The Uber smelled like pine cleaner and baseball caps. I watched my phone. At 8:53, a text, running late. At 9:12, don't wait up. I replied with a thumbs up and turned on the game. At 7 the next morning, she placed a plate on the counter, scrambled eggs. She never cooked on Sundays. About yesterday, she started. I tasted the eggs. Decent. About boundaries, I corrected. I didn't like how that looked. I don't like how it felt. I shouldn't have said boring, she murmured. You shouldn't have meant it, I said, but softer. Thanks for breakfast. She nodded. I can put Thursday on the calendar. Which Thursday? This one. Dinner. Okay. She touched my shoulder. And the cabin? Don't cancel. Keep Thursday and next Tuesday, and I'll keep the cabin. 2 nights, no screens. Fine, she said, a quick surrender that looked like a rope thrown over a fence. I cleaned my plate. She hovered, pretending to scroll. Random question, she tossed, casual like a drill. Is the house in both our names? I never remember how we signed it. We both signed, I answered, loading the dishwasher. Right, she said, too quickly. Just came up with my dad. He knows the answer, I said. He was there. She laughed lightly and changed the subject. 5 minutes later, I got a notification, credit pull alert tied to her social. New inquiry. No crisis, but paired with the house question, it wrote a sentence I didn't like. Thursday came. She canceled at 4:30. Work emergency. Understood, I texted. Cabin canceled. She called immediately. Don't. You canceled the prep we needed. I said work emergency. I'm not arguing emergencies, I told her. I'm adjusting to reality. You're punishing me. I'm giving us accurate expectations. I can go tomorrow, she pitched. I can't, I replied. Golf in the morning, workshop at night. She sighed into the phone like it paid rent. Liv, I added. Saturday I'm taking my truck in. I'll be out till noon. If you want a window, take it Friday between 6 and 8. Otherwise, next week. You're scheduling your wife. I'm telling my wife where she fits right now. You're welcome to widen that part of the map. Friday at 6, she actually sat across from me on the patio. She touched my hand. I miss us. Then act like it, I returned. She nodded, soft. I will. It looked like the first real thaw. We ate, we talked, we even laughed a little about Dan trying to name a burger after her. At 8 on the dot, her phone lit up. She flipped it face down. You can take it, I told her. It's nothing. She smiled that practiced smile. I'm here. At 8:10, she stood. I promised Kelsey I'd swing by. Quick. Of course you did. It'll be 10 minutes. When you get back, I'll be in the guest room. She paused at the door. That again. Until we get respectful normal back. Yes. She left. I cleared dishes, then headed to the garage to get the folding ladder. A return air filter had been whining for a week, and whining things get fixed or they get replaced. On the way back in, I heard her voice. Thought she had come back early. Then I realized it was on speaker, in the kitchen, phone on the counter where she'd left it. No, you don't get it, she was saying, laughing. He'll stand there stunned. He does that stoic thing. It'll be perfect. Kelsey, you'll bury him with a smile. Epic. Olivia, on my birthday. Everyone there. I'll do the toast. It's time to move on. And then I say I'm filing. Brianna, you're my hero. Olivia, watch him try to keep it together. He'll hand me the keys just to get me to stop. Kelsey, the house is yours if you time it right. Olivia, exactly. He won't fight. He hates drama. I'll get the car too. He always folds in public. Silence in me fell into order. No shaking, no heat, just a plan. I set the ladder down, pressed the record button on my own phone, and caught the last part. Voices, the words house, car, he won't fight. The timeline, the birthday toast. Kelsey, do it. Wear white. Laughter, then the call ended. I picked up her phone, clicked it off, and set it where it had been. Then I walked to my desk. I opened a folder labeled Important and started a checklist. 1. Freeze secondary cards. 2. Close joint extras. Maintain core bills. 3. Change direct deposit to individual account. 4. Update beneficiaries at HR. 5. Pull copy of deed, insurance, titles. 6. Quietly file. 7. Arrange movers for her things day of party. 8. Book locksmith next morning. 9. Forward mail to P.O. Box. I didn't announce a thing. I didn't throw a plate or write a speech. I bought folders. I printed confirmations. I called a notary at lunch and signed what needed signing to start the process. I paid the fee. I kept all receipts clean and neat like my workbench. At work Monday, Dan leaned in my door. You look like a man who made a decision. I did. You leaving? I'm setting a boundary. That's a yes with a tie on. Come to her birthday, I asked. Bring your camera-ready skepticism. He whistled low. This going to be a thing? Apparently it was supposed to be. I'm changing the program. He pointed 2 fingers at me. You're scary calm. Calm keeps roofs paid, I said. And he laughed like he was supposed to. That week, Olivia flipped tactics. She showed up at my shop with sandwiches. She texted 3 heart emojis after barely using one in months. At dinner Tuesday, she touched my arm across the table. You've been different, she noted. I'm living in facts. I want to fix things, she said, soft, tilting her head like a commercial for trust. I even looked at couple counseling. Good, I replied. Schedule it. I was hoping you'd handle it. I'm not handling feelings for 2 people. She breathed out slowly. I'm trying. Then try harder than a link. She let the silence sit, then placed her fork down. I'm planning my birthday. Big one. I want it at our place. Nice backyard thing. You okay with that? I'm okay with people in the yard, I answered. And with a toast? She smiled. Of course a toast. Say what you mean, I told her. I will, she said, like a promise. She brushed my hand. Thanks for being steady. After dinner, she slid closer on the couch. She put her head on my shoulder for the first time in weeks. I let it stay there exactly long enough to remember how it used to feel. Then I stood. Early day, I said. Stay, she whispered. I will, I told her. In the house, not on the couch. The next day at lunch, she called from the dealership. Insurance wants to talk to the primary on the SUV, she said, light. If we switch it into my name, my agent says it could save us. Send me the quote in writing, I replied. It's just easier if we. In writing, I repeated. She laughed, too bright. You and your paperwork. Paperwork keeps roofs paid. Hey, she added, syrup over a nail. You're coming to my office happy hour Friday, right? It would mean a lot if you showed up. Foreign territory, I said. You can handle it. I always do. At her office bar, I wore a simple shirt, shook hands, and listened. Her coworker Jason told a long story about cycling that went nowhere. Olivia watched me like I was a dog at obedience school. You're such a rock, Jason concluded, clapping me on the back. Olivia chimed, he's very composed. then added for the circle. Almost too composed, you know? Stoic. I sipped water. Stoic is what people call self-control when they're bored. A woman from HR laughed. I like him. Olivia tilted her head. He's fine. Fine. I made another small decision. I wasn't letting her rehearse. I left precisely at 9. I didn't explain. I raised 2 fingers to the room and walked out. On the sidewalk, I texted Dan the final details. Time, address, bring your look. The morning of the party, I woke up an hour early. Movers were scheduled for late afternoon with instructions. Pick up pre-packed boxes labeled Olivia from the garage and deliver to her parents' home. The boxes were already there because I'd spent 3 nights folding her clothes with more respect than she'd given our vows. I left out her party outfit. I made coffee and wrote a note for the movers. Handle gently. She likes her shoes in pairs. It wasn't spite, it was closure. At 10, Olivia knocked on the guest room door without opening it. You up? Yep. Don't forget the ice. And please don't bring the cheap stuff. I wasn't planning on bringing any stuff, I said. Ice is handled. She came in, leaned on the door frame. The sun caught her hair just right. The human brain remembers good lighting when it wants you to forget facts. She smiled. Thank you. No problem. She gestured at the boxes lining the wall of the garage when she walked through later. What's all this? Decluttering, I said. I want the garage to look like a garage, not a closet. She pointed to a box with her old college sweaters. You could have asked. You could have stayed, I said. We're trying something new. Communication by action. If you're making me homeless today, that would be a pretty wild birthday gift. You have a home, I told her. It just might shift zip codes. She laughed like it was a joke, then studied my face and moved on, busying herself with string lights and charcuterie. By 5, the yard was strung and humming. Her parents came in with a store cake and the polite energy of people who think they're entering a Hallmark commercial. Her mother hugged me for too long. Her father shook my hand hard and said, "Take care of our girl." Always, I answered, meaning something he wouldn't like. Dan rolled in with his wife and a cooler and gave me a look that said, "Ready?" I nodded once. Kelsey and Brianna arrived late, all perfume and camera angles. They air-kissed Olivia and shot me twin smirks. I checked my phone. The movers texted they were staged and waiting. The locksmith confirmed an 8 a.m. slot for tomorrow. Everything was the calm kind of set. People ate. People told stories. The yard turned golden. I stood by the grill, the safe place for any man in a storm. Olivia floated from circle to circle like a host auditioning for a show I didn't want to watch. Every 10 minutes, she threw me a look to make sure I was where she planned to put me. I stayed predictable and still. Around 7:30, she tapped her glass with a spoon. "Everyone," she sang. "Can we get a minute?" Conversations tapered. Someone killed the Bluetooth. Her father beamed. Kelsey leaned in near the patio mic like a stage manager. Olivia raised her glass. "Thank you all for coming," she began, eyes shining. "I feel very loved tonight. I've been thinking a lot about growth and change, how life moves." From the corner, Kelsey grinned like she already knew the punchline. Brianna pulled out her phone to film, and I realized, Olivia went on, "Sometimes the bravest thing is to say out loud what everyone already knows. It's time to." I set down the tongs and stepped forward. "Live." She paused and blinked, surprised I could interrupt her fairy tale. "Yes." "Before your big line," I said, voice steady, "one thing." Her smile tightened. "Okay." To my wife, I lifted a water glass. "You're lucky." "Lucky?" she repeated, confused. "Lucky I'm not the man you think I am," I said, letting the quiet widen by a breath. "Because I already filed." The yard shifted. People turned their heads like birds. Brianna's filming dropped an inch. Kelsey's grin flattened. Olivia's smile froze, then vanished like it forgot how. "What?" she asked. "I already filed," I repeated, tone neutral as a bank statement. Noise broke. Gasps, whispers, her father's, "What is happening?" Dan's low exhale like a whistle through teeth. Olivia's jaw worked. "You can't," she started, and I raised a hand, not to silence her, but to give the room the next piece. "One more thing," I added. I took out my phone, tapped the video, and walked to the patio mic. "Since you love toasts." Kelsey took a half step back. Brianna's mouth formed a shape you only make when you don't have lines. Olivia put out a hand, palm up, a last-second plea disguised as authority. "Don't," she said. I pressed play and held the speaker to the mic. The backyard filled with her voice and Kelsey's and Brianna's, joking about timing it, about the house, about me standing there stunned, about me folding so she could sweep the table. Laughter in the recording did the thing laughter does when it's dragged into the light. It turned into a saw. Her mother covered her mouth. Her father, red already, turned purple. "Olivia," he boomed. "What is this?" Kelsey whispered something that sounded like, "We should go," already stepping backwards. Brianna tucked her phone away like it had burned her. Olivia lunged toward me. "You're twisting." "I'm playing your words," I answered. "You recorded me?" she snapped. "I recorded the part you wanted kept secret," I replied. "Happy birthday." Her father pointed at her. "Is this true?" She tried 4 false starts. "It's not." "You're not hearing." "That's not." The yard erupted. People processed out loud because that's what people do when certainty collapses. Her mother cried without sound. Dan stood like a referee who didn't need a whistle. Kelsey and Brianna were already at the gate, suddenly very busy with their car keys. Jason from cycling muttered, "This is wow." I didn't argue. I didn't collect statements. I let her own plan step on its rake. When the noise thinned and the air found itself, I looked at her. "Listen carefully," I told her, not loud, but it carried. She glared. "You humiliated me." "You scheduled it," I answered. "I just moved the time." Her father tried again. "Olivia, what were you thinking?" She didn't look at him. She stared at me like if she could arrange her face right, she could make me rewind. I didn't know her that. I owed myself an exit. "From this moment," I said, crisp, "you forget my house, forget my number, forget you were my wife. Your things are already packed. They'll be at your parents' place by 9. You don't need to come back for them. Goodbye." Someone said, "Dang," under their breath. Her mother sobbed out, "No." Her father looked like he might attempt a speech. Dan put a hand on his arm and shook his head. "Let it be done." Olivia reached for me, palm open. "Mark, don't do this. We can talk." "We had a year to talk," I told her. "You chose a stage. This is not what you think." She tried again, smaller. "It's exactly what I think," I said. "It's exactly what you said." I set the microphone on the table, nodded to Dan, nodded to her parents because they didn't deserve a scene, and walked to the side gate. As I passed the grill, I turned the propane off because safety is free. The gate latch clicked. The night air outside my yard felt like ordinary air, and that was enough. I didn't look back. People later told me faces, shock, anger, disappointment converging on Olivia like her own party had voted her off the island. I didn't need to see it. I'd lived the build-up. Seeing the collapse wasn't necessary. On the sidewalk, Dan caught up, breath light. "You okay to drive?" "I'm good." That was clean. Clean was the goal. He nodded, impressed and sad. "You think she'll try anything?" "She already did." He bumped my shoulder. "See you tomorrow?" "Locksmith at 8, I told him. "Then brunch. Bring your appetite." I slept like a person with an empty calendar. At 8, the locksmith changed 2 cylinders for less than I used to spend on dinner for 2. At 9, the movers texted a photo of her boxes in her parents' foyer. Her father texted me, "We received them." Her mother added, "I don't know what to say." I replied to both, "Take care of each other." The papers moved faster than rumor. The recording took the wind out of theatrics. No drawn-out anything. No table flipping. Just signatures and the quiet click of a door that wasn't mine anymore. She tried a few emails first, soft ones. "Can we be civil?" "We are," I wrote back. "This is civility. Can we talk without your friend Dan meddling?" "Dan doesn't make my choices," I answered. "I do." Then 2 weeks later, a longer one. "I didn't plan to hurt you. I was scared." I archived it. I didn't reply with a manifesto. I didn't paste quotes. I sent one sentence. "Good luck." The week after it was final, I hosted a small thing. Not a spectacle, just people who had called and texted and offered to drive by late if I needed company. My brother brought ribs. Dan brought his 2 kids who drew chalk lines on my driveway like they were mapping the future. Neighbors drifted over. Even Mrs. Ortiz came with a pie, and that look old ladies get when they're proud of you for not being a fool. "Speech," Dan hollered, because he can't help himself. I raised a bottle of seltzer. "I'm not toasting endings," I told them. "I'm toasting thresholds. Thank you for showing up." That's it. It was enough. People clapped, and went back to eating on cheap plates because our hands need something to do when life goes right. My days found their shape quick. Work moved. A client I'd been chasing for a year finally called me back, and that turned into a contract I enjoyed. My Saturdays became real Saturdays. I joined a group that restores old motorcycles in a warehouse that smells like oil and patience. Twice a year, I travel for a week. No dramatic posts, no speeches, just a photo of a sunrise I send to Dan to make him jealous. Every now and then, I hear a scrap. Olivia left town. The big friends with the big plans shrank when she needed them to be tall. Kelsey moved to another city. Brianna locked her accounts. Olivia took a small place near her sister and took up hiking because people reinvent themselves with soft shoes when the hard floors fall away. I don't watch it. I just hear the outline and set it down. Once, months after, I ran into her father in line at a hardware store. He shifted on his feet like the floor remembered that party. "Mark," he said, nodding. "Sir." He looked down at the bolts in his hand. "We're disappointed," he said, and for a second I thought he meant in me. "I understand," I answered. "In her," he added, eyes wet because we're all just people. "We raised her better." "You raised her," I said. "The rest is on the person." He nodded, grateful that I didn't turn it into anything else. "You did right by yourself." "I did right by the facts," I told him. Back in my truck, I sat for a minute and let the quiet do what it does when it's earned. No fireworks. No punchlines. Just air. People ask sometimes if I regret anything. Sure. I regret not leaving the first time a joke felt like a test. I regret explaining what respect looks like to a person who already knew and chose differently. But regret is a luxury you rent by the hour. I don't have that kind of time. I have a shop that hums, a bank account that answers to one name, a passport that gets stamped twice a year, and a group of friends who can show up on a Saturday with a cooler and fix a fence without watching a tutorial. There's a woman I see now and then, quiet, sharp, listens like people are maps worth reading. I haven't decided what to call it. I don't have to. It's enough that when her phone rings, she doesn't check it in the middle of a sentence. When I speak, she looks. When I stop, she smiles. Simple isn't boring. It's the point. If you want the lesson, here it is. Don't argue with a person's strategy. Change the rules you control. You can't force respect out of someone's mouth. You can only remove access to the places they don't honor. I didn't slam doors. I turned the handle and left. The house is quiet now, but it's an honest quiet. I'll take that over the noise she planned. And on my worst day, when a small voice tries to sell me the old store-brand doubt, I think about that night. The string lights, the full yard, the look on her face when her script got swapped out for reality. And I remember the line I gave her, and, really, gave myself. "You're lucky. I already filed." That sentence cleared the field. I walk it now without dodging. I don't miss the show. I don't miss the script. I don't miss being steady,